Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. In this video is to bring you a closer look at the transatlantic number DC-SB25-DU sex nut bolts in Duronodic. So what this is a package of 4 male and female sex bolts that are used to through bolt, not through bolt, but to bolt, well, to through bolt something certainly. Although there are through bolts which are different than sex bolts. Sex bolts have a male and female component to it, and while through bolts do, it would be just a machine bolt with what would be called a grommet nut on the other side. A much less elegant way to through bolt something to a door than sex bolts, and I'll explain why. So let's remove one of each from the packaging here. The thread type on this is 1/4-20. This is going to be used for primarily door closers, but you can certainly use it on anything that the size of this will complement. Okay, so door closers are obviously, they come to mind because a door closer is going to take a flathead machine screw like this. You could certainly through bolt your exit devices. You'd want either a countersunk washer, or you'd want to pick up some 1/4-20 panhead machine screws, machine bolts for that, but it would certainly work. A sex bolt is going to feature a spline preparation around the base of the unit. We'll have this truss style head. We'll have a very specific body length as well, and then again feature a flathead screw. They do make these in other thread types. I know that I've seen a number 10 diameter, probably a 10-24. In a round head, that would be like a door, an exit device specific sort of application. They do make these, these can be purchased. These can be purchased in stainless steel as well. If you had a non-ferrous application, like if you had a stainless steel door, I guess it would be the Chicago Transit Authority, the CTA, has an extensive line of train service, obviously, and going down one line of it, you will see stainless steel doors installed, because these are exterior applications to equipment rooms, and anything that you put there is going to degrade eventually. But I think you could make an argument that a stainless steel door and frame, while they're very expensive, I don't know that you're going to get great life expectancy out of common hollow metal doors and frames. Or maybe they're just spending a lot of money on doors. So let's talk about what makes this special. So first of all, this is a 3/8 body diameter. That's a 1/4-20 hole. The length of this, from the underside of the head to the edge of the female portion, as you can see, is about 1 11/16. That's a very specific length. That is by design. The diameter of the 3/8, the diameter of the 1/4 inch is also by design. So the bottom line is, and I'll put a caliper on the bolt, but the rule of thumb is you drill a 3/8 hole on the exterior or opposite side, and that bolt measures 0.374. So 3/8 would probably work pretty good. 0.374 is that body diameter. You drill a 3/8 hole on the outside only, the side opposite the door closer body. The outside diameter of its head is 0.545. 0.545 on the outside. The outside diameter of the machine bolt is 0.244. So you would drill a 3/8 hole on the exterior side. You would drill a 1/4 inch hole on the side where the door closer body is going to be. And the reason that is all important, along with that 1 11/16, can be illustrated on the screen view. Let's switch to that now. Okay, so here is the item that we're looking at here in a very detailed discussion about sex bolts, their applications, and other variants of sex bolts can be reviewed here. But let's just talk about this one in particular. So you have a door. Okay, that's an 1 3/4 inch thick door. Okay. to your door, you're going to drill a 3/8 hole on one side, then you're going to drill a 1/4 inch hole on the other side. This hole on the inside, or the closer side, okay, you're going to actually obviously then have another hole down here or whatever. It's going to be slightly smaller. Again, that's 1/4 inch. You drill that 3/8 hole, you insert your female portion so that it basically looks like this. And your splines will bite against the steel itself, is the concept. And the diameter of the body, as we discovered earlier, is 3/8. That hole over here is 1/4 inch. The reasoning is the shoulder of the female portion the shoulder will rest against the inside face of the steel, because that's 1 3/4. Our bolt is 1 11/16, just shy, allowing for the thickness of the steel here. And then when you bring your flathead, machine bolt, as you tighten that bolt, you won't crush the two pieces of steel in against each other, because the shoulder of the female portion is preventing that from happening. So that's why that is all designed, in particular, the way that it is. So always be mindful. Put a 3/8 hole on your exterior side, put a 1/4 inch hole on the interior side, and that's why these are meant to work the way they're meant to work. So this is the item that we're looking at. This is for their DX 50, 90, 70, 200, series closers. I'm not sure about the CTP 40 though. I don't think that's the right closer. No, I don't think it's going to work for this one. This is a very old section of their catalog. Yeah, CTP 40. It is not, well, it's not for this body because the machine bolts are too short. You would have to come up with machine bolts, 1/4 20 by, whatever, 2 1/4. I'm just guessing what length they would need to be. But they are not the through bolts. These are not the through bolts for that series of closer. Even though these grade 1, that CTP 40 style, will already inherently include through bolts, nonetheless, you would not use it on that. This is an LCN 4040 knockoff is what it is. It's a clone of that. That sex bolt, the female portion would work, but the rest would not. So be mindful of that. Obviously going to be available in aluminum and Duronodic. And polished brass. Okay, so you can get it in polished brass as well. Aluminum, dark bronze, Duronodic, or polished brass. The link to the manufacturer's website is, the link to the manufacturer's page within our site can be reviewed here, where you can look at not only all of the transatlantic products that we sell, but a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the product catalog. Transatlantic has, I don't know the, Transatlantic was absorbed or bought by Global Door Controls, and then those two companies merged into a single company called Imperial. So if we were to go to our manufacturer's page in the site and do a find function for Imperial USA, you'll get to the product catalog, which is a combination of transatlantic items and Global Door Controls products. Let's wrap up this video on camera. Now, the finish of this, is Duronodic. It's dark brown. It may look black to you, but I assure you it's not black, even though you could probably arguably use this on black anodized, aluminum storefront. But that would be dark brown or Duronodic. The name Transatlantic is synonymous with good quality imported builder's hardware, namely exit devices and door closers. My family had been selling Transatlantic since the 1970s. An outfit located in Philadelphia, an owner or a couple of owners, and there may have been one customer service rep, and her name was Sandy. And Sandy was great. She was incredibly helpful, incredibly capable of getting our orders for exit devices, lock sets, door closers, and hinges just shipped out. And she was great. At some point, she retired in the early or mid-2000s. I don't remember exactly. But also at that same time, I think ownership was looking to retire or sell or whatever the case was. Sandy moved to the Southwest and continued to work remotely, and it worked out just fine. But then I think she retired, or the company. The bottom line is the name is synonymous with good quality imported hardware, but the people behind it were good quality people as well. You can still purchase the transatlantic ED-501 exit device. It is still an ED-501 in the Imperial catalog. I have been responsible, my family's been responsible for probably selling tens of thousands of those. And I can tell you that of all those, I'm aware of one failure of that exit device. If you want a excellent quality, it's grade 1 in fact, 1 million cycles it's been tested to. If you want an excellent quality exit device that's really dirt cheap, that's your go-to. I'm aware of one failure, and that failure was a restaurant guy in Glenview, Illinois, and I happened to live a couple of miles away from the restaurant. It was a Saturday, and the guy called me up fuming because the exit device that I sold him doesn't work. And he had been trying to build this restaurant for weeks or months or who knows. And finally the inspector's coming in, the exit device doesn't work, and he's upset. Well, I had gotten home from work at that time. He called. I'm like, you know what? I'm 2 miles away. I'll drive over. Went over to the site. The guy refused to see me. He was so angry. So I go back to the rear door, and crouching or kneeling in front of the door is a welder. And he is doing some welding work. And I looked at the exit device, and as he described, the latch bolt would, when you push the touch bar, would come in but then not pop back out. I have a background in welding. I immediately realized the problem was the incredibly small spring that's inside of there. When he applied 1800 degrees of Fahrenheit with his welding torch, he vaporized that spring. So now I'm the person who's not too happy. Still refuses to see me. I grab the son and say, come back here, take a look at this. Okay? This is why it failed, because you welded it to the door. You applied 1800 degrees Fahrenheit within a couple of inches of this very small piece of wire. And believe it or not, without that, it ain't going to work. His problem was his ego kept him from apologizing, not that I required that at all. They paid for a new exit device. The problem with what they did was they had to cut that off the door. It should not have been welded. It's hardware. It needs to be mechanically fastened. So he had to have that cut off the door, a new exit device purchased and installed, and that was the only time I ever saw one that had failed. So as far as I'm concerned, the ED-501 is batting 1,000 in my book. If you have any questions on the transatlantic TA DC-SB25-DU set of sex bolts and a Duronodic finish, or any other transatlantic product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you.